From a misunderstood young guy struggling with depression and addiction in the New York streets, to a star whose quick rise captivated and shook a generation, this is all you need to know about the tragic fate of Lil Peep.
And Tucson police say they found Lil Peep unresponsive inside of his tour bus from an apparent drug overdose from Xanax.
The rapper's story was short but hugely successful, especially in bringing attention to addiction and mental health issues among young people, which sadly are on the rise. He passed away in 2017, just 2 years after rising to internet fame with a promising career ahead. Born Gustav Elijah on November 1st, 1996, his early years didn't predict the cultural impact he would later have. Growing up in Long Island, he dealt with anxiety, depression, and bullying at school. He often locked himself in his room, avoiding contact with others. At his memorial, his mom, Liza, shared how he reached a point where his friends' parents wouldn't let him in their homes because he was weird, even though he was just being himself. Faced with this, the singer decided to start getting tattoos early on. So if people judged him as strange, at least they'd have a reason. In one of his songs, Binge Truck Part 2, he admits, "All I ever wanted was a friend," or "Everyone's afraid of my style." As years passed, he left school to take online courses and get his diploma. But like many misunderstood artists, music became his outlet. "This music's the only thing keeping the peace when I'm fallin' to pieces," he'd say in one of his early songs. At 17, he moved to Echo Park in Los Angeles, where he recorded and produced most of his music. In 2015, he began releasing his first songs online under the pseudonym Lil Peep, with his debut mixtape, Lil Peep Part 1, which garnered 40,000 plays in its first week. Thanks to the viral success of the song Star Shopping, his lyrics painted a raw emotional self-portrait. They were a window into his internal demons, drugs, and depression. All his songs made references to his addiction to cocaine, ecstasy, and alprazolam. His sound was equally raw, blending rap with elements of punk rock, grunge, and even electronic music. At first, the response was modest, but soon his songs found an unexpected niche among young people who felt misunderstood and marginalized. His popularity kept growing following the release of the hit Beamer Boy, which led to his live debut on February 13, 2016 in Tucson, Arizona, alongside the Schemapos Collective. Shortly after, he dropped his first solo EP, Feels, and another mixtape titled Live Forever, a somewhat ironic title under the circumstances. He then cemented his sound with projects like Crybaby with Goth Boy Clique and the acclaimed Hellboy, which featured hits like Girls with Horsehead and OMFG, racking up millions of streams. Behind the raw voice and defiant tattoos, Lil Peep channeled influences that went far beyond rap. A music critic from New York, John Caramanica, even dubbed him the Kurt Cobain of rap for the emotive and devilishly melodic way he exorcised his inner demons. Actually, Gustav's lyrics served as an open diary of youth anguish, covering depression, addiction, breakups, and suicidal thoughts, breaking the mold of typical rap, even as he exploded onto the SoundCloud rap scene. Lil Peep drew from a much wider array of influences, from alternative rock pioneers like Nirvana, Blink-182, and My Chemical Romance, to melancholic pop icons like Frank Ocean and David Bowie. Lil Peep was a unique catalyst who fused sounds. He added the dark isolationism of Roz Williams and Ghostmate to the psychedelic beats of Sebastian and Crystal Castles. A melting pot of emotions and genres shaped Lil Peep's undefinable and addictive sound. His creative output was a tribute to the many facets that defined him as a human being. Going beyond any label of being just a rapper, this allowed him to strike a chord with a generation, honestly channeling the raw anguish of misunderstood youth. The hallmark of his style undoubtedly lies in the melancholic and somber character present in most of his songs. He poured all his feelings into his work without reservation, which is precisely why his music resonated and conveyed so many emotions and sensations. In his track, Girls, the rapper boldly states, "I try to make them sad, so they fall in love with me." With Lil Peep giving voice to a rarely explored youth anguish, He became the embodiment of the sad boy for many, but beyond that, he was a troubled soul. In his song OMFG, he openly sang about contemplating suicide. Yet, far from being ashamed, Peep found healing in exorcising these obsessions. In his own way, while those around him urged him to seek medication, Peep chose to self-medicate with whatever drugs were available. It was a self-destructive path that began in his adolescence. And now, as his popularity surged virally, so did the shadows of fame. His recreational drug use became an addiction from which he couldn't break free. On social media and in interviews, the artist spoke with raw honesty about his demons, exposing a deafening vulnerability. He admitted he didn't really know himself. "I don't even know who I am. I can't even control myself," he has said. And he once said with a laugh when asked who he was, and though it may seem hard to believe given his mood swings, this icon of youth anguish who captivated the underground rap world also managed to infiltrate a completely opposite universe, the glamorous world of high fashion. During the spring-summer 2017 Men's Fashion Week, Lil Peep's unkempt yet magnetic look became a fixture in the most exclusive front rows. From luxury houses showcases like Balmain, Fendi, and Hayter Ackerman, his bold aesthetic of the sad boy captivated the cream of the fashion world. But he wasn't just a front-row guest. In an even more surprising turn, the 21-year-old rapper even stepped onto the runways, modeling in the shows of cult designers like Marcelo Bullen and Vlone. From the underground scene to the inner sanctum of fashion in the blink of an eye. Not satisfied with just turning heads during fashion weeks, prestigious style magazines like GQ, V Magazine, and Paper soon recruited him for extensive photo shoots and interviews. What might have once been seen as a troubled boy look became the most coveted fashion aesthetic. Lil Peep was reaching the top until gravity became too much for him and brought him crashing down. In late 2017, just as Lil Peep was reaching mainstream stardom, with his acclaimed album Come Over When You're Sober, Part 1-inch, tragedy struck on November 15th, just before his show in Tucson, Arizona. He was found dead in the back of his tour van at the age of 21. An accidental overdose of fentanyl and Xanax tragically ended his life. The music world was shocked. Sadly, it can't be said that no one saw it coming. It wasn't uncommon to hear goodbye phrases in his songs, as early as 2015. In his track, The Way I See Things, he sang, "I got a feeling that I'm not gonna be here for next year. So let's laugh a little before I'm gone." In Haunt You, he sang, "My time is here, and I'm making it clear. Oh, I love you, my dear, but I'm gone. All of this was a kind of premonition that turned out to be terribly real. But it didn't stop there. The shocking details of his death came out shortly after. The toxicology report showed marijuana, cocaine, fentanyl, and Xanax in his system, along with strong painkillers like hydrocodone, hydromorphone, and oxycodone. It was a deadly and uncontrollable mix that took his life. According to the police report, Gustav had taken a nap before his show. His manager checked on him twice and found him asleep. But on the third check, he wasn't breathing anymore. Despite attempts to revive him, paramedics could only confirm his death at the scene. The loss was painful, and a mystery quickly shrouded the news. It turns out that in the hours leading up to his death, Peep had shared on Instagram that he had taken hallucinogenic mushrooms, marijuana, and a worrying number of Xanax pills.
El Paso, I took 6 Xanax and I was lit. I'm good, I'm not sick.
His last cryptic message said, "When I die, you'll love me." And indeed, it's a devastating mix of substances. But things got even more confusing. Close friends later said that the Xanax the rapper took that night seemed to have been mixed with fentanyl and other unknown substances. And the weirdest part? The medical report confirmed that yes, he died of an overdose, but not necessarily because of all the substances he took. Only one caused lethal damage to his body, and that was fentanyl. But Lil Peep wasn't trying to take fentanyl. It was then an accidental drug overdose. The news broke the hearts of his fans, many of whom deeply felt his pain. Artists from all genres mourned his loss. From rappers like Lil Uzi Vert to rock icons like Pete Wentz, his posthumous album, Come Over When You're Sober, Part 2-inch, became one of the best-selling albums of 2018, debuting at number 4 on the Billboard 200 in the years since his death. Lil Peep's legacy has only grown. He's recognized as a pioneer who defined the sound of emo rap or punk rap beyond the music. Peep embodied the raw honesty of a generation struggling to be heard. His lyrics opened the Pandora's box of topics like male depression, drug use, and the traumas of modern adolescence. He was a mirror that reflected the multiple crises of an entire generation. During his lifetime, Gustav faced the pain of being misunderstood and left out. But in death, Lil Peep became a timeless symbol of youth angst. His talent was taken away too soon. The suffering has ended, and Lil Peep now lives on in the memories of the entire scene. He revitalized all the fans. He supported us through tough times with his music. Rest in peace, Lil Peep.